the Aphelios lock in here for RNG.
Yeah, I think you go safety, comfort, whatever you want to choose, whatever word it is for Gala. It'll be a nice first pickup for RNG, but this makes JDG kind of have a lot of the choice here. They can choose if they want to go ahead and try to counter, get something aggressive on the bottom lane, and they lock in the Lucian.
And this was something that we talked about a while ago when it came to baits and drafts. We've seen the Kalista get baited by an Aphelios Renata lock in, but the Aphelios gets baited because of this Lucian Nami that Hope and Missing have been spectacular on in that bottom side of the map, getting massive advantages with those picks when they're able to bring it out. We've seen it once from them before, end up with a 10 KDA, and now there's that Wukong that we're talking about for JDG as well. So now I think RNG, we'll have to see what exactly they want to respond with. Renata, I think, would be a fantastic pick here just to try and enable that bot side, especially against the very aggressive lanes that you're seeing coming through from JDG, and also a very short range composition from JDG. We'll have to see if they decide to agree with us on that one or not.
Yeah, it would be something to keep in the back mind. They did hover the Viego, but they switched to the Nautilus last second. So bottom lane secured for RNG, and Gala Ming set up for success here.
For RNG, I'm curious how highly they prioritize the Lissandra. Do they just take Lissandra here for Xiaohu, knowing that he basically never gets his hands on it? Or are they going to try and go, hey, we need some kind of jungler for Wei to make sure he's safe. We don't want to leave that to the second ban phase, and it does actually look like that's going to be the case. Yeah. So JDG will get a second chance to get rid of some of these mid lane champions from RNG, but they will have to take the Nami here to round out that bottom side of the map.
And I will say, maybe it was, I'm not a big analytics person, but maybe it was a little bit of a bait, banning away the Talia, the Ahri, saying, bet you won't pick that Lissandra. We got to pick and do it, but it won't be the case just yet, at least, as you said. We're getting in the second phase of bans. Bot lanes established, jungle established. We're still looking for the solo lane, so that must change the at least priority in bans in the second phase, where I would expect a lot of those solo lane bans to come through, and a third ban towards Xiaohu.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Like, the Talia, the Ahri, and that Lissandra have been the creme de la creme for the mid lane, and now we're gonna have to see exactly what the answer is for Xiaohu, because there is always the fallback of something like an Azir, but again, this isn't really the RNG way to kind of like just hands off in the early stages for Xiaohu, and Xiaohu Kree's
what are we gonna get in the mid lane?
Azir. So I mean, you're starting to fall back into like Galio's, Twisted Fates, these kind of things that can crop up in the mid lane if you want to. Zoe, a big pick for Yagao as well. LeBlanc starts to rise in priority. Ryze, also a big pick. JDG got to ban away that Galio though, so it does feel like something like a Ryze, a Zoe, LeBlanc suddenly become very, very important. And Yagao, a fantastic Zoe, a fantastic LeBlanc. We'll have to see what Xiaohu's going to be able to bring to the table to answer. Silas as well, don't forget, has slipped through the ban phase, and this now could be first rotation here for JDG.
That would actually be kind of crazy to slot that in there. LeBlanc, the final ban from RNG on the blue side. JDG will have their first crack at the second phase to try to get something locked in. We were talking about agency in the mid lane, movement from that mid lane to help out junglers or to just facilitate anything. And the Ryze will be there for Yagao and for some of that mobilization.
So this is where we ask, does Xiaohu bring out the Silas? Has a decent matchup into the Ryze because you can't steal away the Realm Warp. You can close the distance on him. You can actually play very well with the Viego to try and make that happen. You also got decent ultimates in the Tidal Wave, in the Wukong Cyclone as well. TF, I'm not a fan of. Like, you've opted into the counter matchup here as Xiaohu now, because Ryze, like, historically shoves in wave very efficiently against the TF and then just roams faster. So I'm kind of surprised to see Xiaohu put himself into this position when I think you could have gone for the Silas, but now for breeding the top lane, I imagine a Gangplank, probably your best bet here, or something like the Gnar, which has slipped through as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm actually surprised that Gnar made it all the way through to the last pick on at least blue side at this point, but that's been tried and true for the LPL here in this last little bit, at least results-based analysis tells me that. So RNG round out their composition. Now JDG, bit of last pick priority here for the top side of the map.
I actually thought we'd get 369 going towards the Gangplank. Like, remove Scurvy for the Twisted Fate. Cannon Barrage can follow the TF. And then you've actually got a really good answer to, like, TF, who's pretty mobile, Aphelios, who struggles against that cannon barrage, but instead they are just going to go back towards straight up team fighting here for JDG. Like, a lot of damage front loaded through the Lucian, through the Ryze in this mid game, and JDG going to see if they can abuse the fact that Ryze does have that better or early game against the TF to get him out on the map and start playing towards hope and missing. So for RNG, I'm very curious to see how Xiaohu is going to navigate things with this Twisted Fate, because it does feel like when we're playing towards like the early game style that JDG like, that early aggression, they've got the cards to make that happen.
Yeah, I guess that's where I want to talk a little bit more about, you know, machinations for both these two teams, and especially I expect a lot of skirmishing early on. I think both these teams do have some scaling options in their own right, but do you think we'll get a lot of that crazy jungle pathing early on?
I don't think it's so much a case of like pre-6 we might see a huge amount. I think it'll be after 6 that we start to see a lot more of this movement. And I think that's where it becomes super interesting, because Ryze, even in the... Well, actually, I could be wrong with that. Ryze in the early stages, pre-6, has a lot of push power in this mid lane. So maybe we actually do get to see Yagao like shoving mid, trying to work with Wukong to go for some sort of like level 3 dive on the bot side of the map, especially against the Nautilus and Aphelios with the Lucian Nami. That's a lot of damage that can come out from a Wukong, a Ryze, ton of CC. So I wouldn't be actually surprised, now that I say it, to like see Kanavi start top side, work with a push from mid and Yagao, and lean into this bottom side. And there's very little that you can really do here as RNG to try and stop that, unless we get some sort of weird transitional gank from Wei through that mid lane to try and shut it down.
Well, we finally hit the rift for the game we've all been waiting for. The match of the week, RNG versus JDG. Should be a fun one. Hope everybody's buckled in and ready to go. I know we got Dagda's checks at the beginning of the day, but it is going to be a fun one when both these teams kind of presenting these very map movement style compositions for the first game here. I think we'll get a lot of back and forth. Especially
because this feels like a playoff preview. This is very easily going to be a matchup that we see in our playoffs later on. Maybe even, if we say it, in our playoffs, our regional playoffs, to try and get to the World Championship as well. So this is a little taster of things to come. And at the moment, 369 and Breathe, there's no dancing between these top laners. It's all business here today.
It absolutely is. 369 trying to play a little aggressive. But that's where I also want to zoom into that top lane a little bit. Something we haven't really talked about besides the picks coming through for the top laners. Do we see any volatility come up from that Gnar Sejuani matchup? I feel like at this point we won't, but Breathe and 369 have been pretty heavy in terms of carry performances we've seen from them before this split.
I don't think we will. The way this matchup works is that Gnar has good range advantage, has to watch out for the Arctic Assault coming through from the Sejuani, the Q, to make sure that he's not getting caught out by that. And if not, you tend to be able to push in the wave and have decent control as Breathe. But the only time you really get kill pressure as 369 is at level 6 and you hit the Arctic Assault. Maybe you get Kanavi up there as well to try and make something happen, but chances are that's not going to be the case. It'll probably be pretty steady on the top side. It's more so kind of looking at where the junglers are at the moment and what their movement's going to be, because we talked about Kanavi potentially moving back down towards this bottom side to look for a dive with Yagao. But if you actually look at what JDG have been doing, ward and top side placed by 369 to spot out Wei's initial clear on the blue. Now the ward on the Raptors to spot out that they're being done as well. So it's about JDG figuring out exactly where Wei is and then trying to work around that information.
There's a bit of an iceberg here, though, that is fully front and center in the way of our Titanic, because RNG, when you're looking at this team, you're talking so much at the top of the table, you know, playoff matchup. They have lost 2-1 to the other two top teams in our league, Top Esports and V5, which is something to look at when you're looking at them facing the top of the table standings and trying to move on up.
Yeah, it's definitely the elephant in the room, especially when you look at JDG, who have been able to take down other top teams. They've beaten Top Esports, they've beaten V5. This is where, for RNG, they kind of need to show and prove that they belong with the big boys at that upper end of the table. We'll have to see if they can try and do so here today against JDG. And again, not the biggest fan of the way that they've drafted this one, so it could easily be the case if they will struggle, especially to see Kanavi moving up towards this top side. 369 trying to just stop the reset.
Does take a couple tower shots there.
Ooh, Kanavi not going to go for it.
So go for it. Okay, he holds the trigger.
Yeah, it means that Breathe will probably miss out on the first few creeps here, but RNG, knowing that this means chances are Kanavi's top side, are looking for the potential dive on bot. TP for Yagao will be needed.
Level advantage over Pope at least. The bubble is huge to stop RNG's aggression.
This is JDG kind of going, hey, we're going to call your bluff. Like, usually in that situation, Yagao would like instantly TP bot, but you can see RNG weren't actually looking at the dive. They were looking at the TP for Yagao, because then maybe Xiaohu can get control of the mid. He can hold on to his teleport, and they can look for plays later. So JDG reading the mind games from RNG and just kind of calling the bluff. So nice job so far from JDG to get control of her top side a little bit easier for 369, not falling prey to stuff from RNG early. This is the kind of mind games that we were looking out for in this series.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm here for. I got my popcorn ready to go. Also, speaking about ready to go, we're almost to that level 6 mark for both these mid laners, and that's when we said we want to see things turn up a little bit. Get these realm warps to the side lanes, get these destiny gates going down, and find some of that facilitation from the mid lane. And speaking of facilitation, Kanavi finding some aggression down bottom lane yet again.
Yeah, it's minute 6-4-6. That's how you always got to think about it for those mid laners. And will be just the next couple of waves that are going to come through, and that's where maybe we can start to see them access the map. Again, though, you can see, like, Yagao, he's got full control here, which is why Kanavi's going for these invades against Wei.
You can see that skirmishing starting to come up big. Yellow card does go through for Xiaohu, though. And the chicken taken by Wei. They still want to take this 2v2. I like it. They're pushing forward as Yagao and Kanavi have to get away. Another yellow card connects. A little bit of damage back and forth here between the 2v2. We're getting bottom lane moving up now, but both of them sticking in that tri-bush area. Everybody just walks away after trading some blows, Dagda.
Yagao just has better AoE damage than Xiaohu, especially when he locks in the gold card for the stun. So from JDG side, they're happy to take these trades, winning out in the stronger 2v2. They do just need to be careful because Wei was level 5 to the level 4 of Kanavi. Because Kanavi has been trying to do some of these Q plays, it is about 2 camps behind. So Wei going to start to at least get another camp here on this bot side, it looks like, and move in over towards this dragon.
And you can see with the experience there on the left side of your screen, a big difference already so far. And Wei is taking that experience differential and taking it to the first dragon of the game for RNG.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been paying attention to what was happening bot because there's so much movement from the junglers, but massive CS lead kind of opening up for Gala and Ming already in this bot side. And when you look at like Hope and Missing, who are ones who are supposed to be in the advantageous position, this is not exactly the best start for the JDG bot lane. They will need Kanavi and Yagao now to start trying to help this, because if you end up pushing towards the late game, Gala's just going to be far more relevant in that position than Hope and Missing.
Back started from Yagao. I was wondering if they're going to reuse the Realm Warp here. They are getting some pings down, and here they come. Destiny is used from Xiaohu in the mid lane. Glacial Prison moved out of by Breathe, and here comes Xiaohu. He needs to flash, though, as JDG trying to juggle the turret aggro here. Nothing comes up of it except for a lot of summoner spells burned.
Great job from Xiaohu, though, to make it up here. Breathe, fantastic flash to avoid the Glacial Prison. And from that stage, with Xiaohu coming up, they actually managed to collect the wave. Breathe can be the one to shove out this top wave as well, because 369 is the reset. And they'll force that TP from 369 to collect the wave. So at least at this stage, RNG and JDG just trading blows back and forth, and no one really able to find that advantage that they really want to try and secure yet.
It's literally just chess, man. I'm having so much fun like a kid at a candy shop over here watching this, because Xiaohu's excellent timing to match Yagao, and just seeing how both of these teams are just commanding this game so far. Even though we haven't had any blood, we've seen the macro movements already sub that 10-minute mark, which I think is something we got to keep an eye on as we get into the later parts of this early game, and especially when we start seeing, you know, Rift Herald coming up here, a little bit more focus up that way, vision control in JDG's favor right now, and how RNG approach that situation.
And that's the thing, JDG have already moved their pieces into position. Because you got that full push from Hope and Missing on the bot side, it means that you're able to unlock Missing, who can now move mid to help get push. And maybe we're not looking at Rift Herald. Instead, because they see Gala and Ming on bot side, they might actually just be looking for a dive. Kanavi has hit 6 off his blue. And maybe that's what JDG want to try and go for instead, but looks like they just wanted to get control back of the spot side, and now we'll start to rotate up towards the Rift. But JDG seem really unsure about how they want to try and approach this.
That's really weird to see them kind of fumbling these kinds of decisions so far. And RNG, they are already halfway down with the Rift Herald. Here comes JDG, though. That early Rift Herald takes a little while to take down. Xiaohu getting engaged on. Glacial Prison not available just yet for 369. He would have loved to have that ultimate. The Rift Herald does get taken by Wei in a great decision-making process from RNG.
Yeah, I mean, it looked weird from JDG. They kind of half wanted to play around the wave and bot side for Hope, but that wave wasn't really substantial enough for them to try and look for a dive. They then aren't in a position to try and look for the top side of the play, even though they were the ones with the quicker reset. So, I don't know. It looked a bit all over the place from JDG, and for a team that really wants to hit this bot lane home hard in the mid game, losing out is going to be a bit of a problem. Although Wei will spot out a missing, who will just back away as Xiaohu actually going to go for this.
Hey, the commander is commanding. He tries to get the play onto missing, but he might have commanded himself into a bit of a hole as Hope will pick up the first blood of the game for JDG.
Yeah, I mean, especially when Xiaohu had vision on where Hope was. Just a bit of a whoopsie there. No follow-up CC was fast enough, and you burned both the flash on Wei and the ultimate. And now Kanavi, because he doesn't need help on bot, can just go for the play on top.
What did Breed do to Kanavi? I mean, it's just been up here the entire time. He does get the double jump there. It's huge turnaround and a 1-for-1 in the top side.
I mean, nicely done by Breed to turn that around. Had got the majority of the wave, and now in mid, Yagao should be able to walk away from this.
Throws out the thumbs up, say, I saw you charging that one up.
Yeah, a bit messy coming across here from both sides when we got towards a few of these plays. Rift Herald fumbled by JDG, the follow-up play fumbled by Xiaohu, and now Kanavi actually getting a lot of these plates on top side and making sure that Breed will lay us out a little bit more of this CS. So overall, a big win for Kanavi, who now is in a position where he can accelerate towards that Divine Sunder, try and make a play at this next dragon in 50 seconds. But RNG trying to look for the dive off this big wave push, knowing Kanavi's on the top side of the map.
They bring Xiaohu down early on. I am so curious at the game style for JDG at this point, because Kanavi has been constantly top, but we're seeing RNG put all the eggs into the bottom lane basket, rightfully so, as they'll get a charge off and almost get the first tower of the game for themselves, but especially getting Gala even more gold.
I mean, Hope and Missing are out of the game. Like, you're 30 CS behind in the matchup where you should be winning. That's not even including the fact that this tower is about to go down and all those third plates went across to Gala as well. Like, you just aren't going to be relevant enough now as this Lucian. And it's been crazy to see, because I think JDG, last time we saw Hope and Missing bring out the Lucian Nami, we're so good at giving it those resources.
Yeah.
Especially when you look at Yagao having that Realm Warp in the mid lane and being able to play bot side, instead giving those resources towards a Sejuani. It just feels like JDG haven't really read exactly what they need to do here, and it's going to cause issues now as we get towards the mid game.
Yeah, the early gank from Kanavi, the hover top lane while RNG were setting up plays bottom lane. It was all decisions from JDG early on, and you got to wonder how it's going to work out for them. You see that player goal on the side. A lot of RNG members there circling around that top four. We'll see the Dragon start up from JDG here, though.
Early Divine Sunder from Kanavi, though, as we talked about, means that he's at a massive spike, so keep your eye on his damage as RNG engage.
Destiny is pulled. The yellow card now up here. Cullen goes through. The Dragon goes over to JDG, though. Tidal Wave not going to do too much there. RNG back away, licking their wounds. 369 needs to lick his wounds, though. Wallop into the kill. Solo bolo for Breed.
Breathe, bringing it back in the top lane. He's been slapped about enough by JDG, and he's had enough. The second he knows he's got the 1v1, gets the count to 369, but Yagao with the Realm Warp.
Look at Wei, though.
They can catch him out here.
Wei is here. Yagao, you're committing way too hard. You think you're going to catch Breathe, but Wei is right here, and this is the power of friendship and the power of teamwork for RNG.
Solo Bolo with the double trouble for Yagao. RNG get the play on top side, and they're not even going to be able to respond on bot. Gala, oh wait, will they actually?
Oh no, Gala. He does have the Gale Force. He's going to use it to try and get out of here. Gravitum as well. Kanavi, he has a lot of mobility. Gala used the heal for just a little bit more movement. The scanner is there. Kanavi slowly inching closer and closer. They're trying to get Gala, but can he do it? He goes over the wall here.
Oh, the
Gala
Q!
with another Gravitum. And that is easy done.
Yeah, Gala saying not even a problem as he's sweating profusely back towards his tower. That was quite close, but we get the replay here on the top side of this solo kill. Great stuff from Breathe. Wallop lands, then you get the pull back on towards 369. And this is the downside for 369 of not being able to run the flash, because you take the Ignite, so susceptible to these plays.
So it's just been that back and forth nature we wanted to see in the skirmishing, but it's been also a little bit of lack of know-how from JDG, it feels like, which is something I don't ever feel like I've said this split, right? They've always felt so confident in the decisions they've made, but that early fumble of who to go for in that Rift Herald fight, and especially some of these breakdowns where RNG have now gotten a steady, you know, about 2,000 gold lead for themselves. It's looking on RNG's side at this point. Blue side's looking mighty fine.
The most interesting part of it to me, though, is that, like, we've actually seen the early plays be nullified quite a lot. Like, the dive on bot by RNG nullified. Dive on top, Breed's able to turn it back around. The problems that are actually coming through from JDG are from individual performers. Like Gala and Ming getting a massive advantage on bot side. Breed getting the solo kill and turning around a lot of these topside plays with individual performances. And Yagao on this Ryze hasn't really been able to try and help out on those side lanes. So for RNG, it's kind of these like little breaks that they're finding from their individual laners that are bringing them this success. Now, though, with the Rift Herald here as well, we're going to have to see what JDG can do with it, because they're about to lose their bot tier 2 thanks to Wei and Xiaohu.
And RNG are perfectly fine with that, and that's where you wonder, right, like the map movement early on from JDG, they are going to get a couple objectives here for themselves, and it's all about how they utilize that. But yeah, that bottom lane tower goes down tier 2 now. Pressure filled in the bottom lane for JDG, and I still like to see them going for these kind of cross-map plays. I want to harken back to the conversation we were having earlier where they kind of changed gears against V5, and I'm not saying that's necessarily here like they're getting all these crazy cross-map plays, but they're realizing like they can roam around with this Death Squad trio with Kanavi and try to find something where RNG are not focusing, and so far not just going to find anything yet, but at least you see the planning.
It becomes a lot more difficult for JDG to find these plays, though, because of what RNG are trying to achieve. I feel like at this stage, after Breed gets this top lane turret, they place Breed on the bottom side of the map. He can push in aggressively against 369. If Yagao is the one that's matching Breed, that's a massive win for RNG, because then Xiaohu doesn't have someone who can match him on these ultimate plays with the Destiny. So RNG end up winning it on the map. If you don't have if you have Breed up against 369, they just win out on the push on that bottom side, and it means that Breed can then collapse on mid, and they can look for a Xiaohu Breed play as they Destiny in towards the mid lane and look for play with the stopwatch on Xiaohu's side. So that's where you're seeing JDG trying to make something happen.
Oh, the Everfrost! Nice. Destiny is going to be popped here, and he's going to try to get the yellow
again.
card out of there. That's huge! They're going to collapse on a Xiaohu, and you tried your darnest, King. You ain't going to find it this time. Kanavi will be there to clean it up. The Rift Herald charges. We see mid lane, though. Hope having to use the culling. Gets engaged on. And there's the Moonlight Vigil. Nice dash, though. We'll get him out of there. Ming in some trouble here, but Gala shuts him down. Actually, it's Ming that picks up the kill in the end while he was golden. So RNG respond back with tier 2 tower now under threat for RNG as JDG keep pushing.
Yeah, they will be able to get the tier 2, it looks like, a bot side. Breathe will be here, but a little bit too late. Tier 1 and mid will go down in favor of RNG, as Missing might fall as well.
Grabbing him there, Wave follows it up. Heartbreaker will take down Missing. The tidal wave, not much. 369, he'll find Gala, though. He gets the big kill there, but he's trying to follow up on a Ming. Has to dodge out from Wei, but the aggression does not stop. 369, he's pushing Wei to the brink. He's pushing him. He doesn't get the kill at the end, though. He almost does, and Yagao is here just in case.
But the dragon is up, and this is going to be JDG having control now over this bottom side of the map. It's so much back and forth, but 2 towers in favor of JDG in the bot side. Kills going their way in the mid lane, and the tier 1 for RNG still stands. So JDG fighting back with more control now on the map and getting a lot of these plays, and it starts again with Yagao. It ain't flashy, the stats won't tell this story, but him continuously harassing Xiaohu under the tower prevents the Destiny out. So they get the tower, they get the kills, and that's the most valuable part here that set them up for that dragon.
It's the double deny, the Destiny plus the TP getting stopped, but then in the mid lane, you just gotta be a little careful, a little overzealous from RNG, but they do get the kill and more gold over to this bottom lane. And we're seeing a little bit of NARAM status happen in the mid lane here already. JDG and RNG just kind of buying their time and trying to get some catch-outs.
For RNG, they should be able to just brute force their way onto this tower. It then becomes a question of how do they make the next few plays after this. JDG are setting up, though, to try and contest this.
Kanavi got spotted out.
Yeah, I think so. The thing is for RNG, like look at the wave on bot. So they're trying to use that to create a pressure point for JDG that they have to deal with. But JDG didn't spot that ward at the back.
They did at the
now
very
we'll know
end.
that they have been spotted.
Oh, yellow card is ready for Xiaohu. Moonlight Vigil, that's going to be a big Inferno, a lot of damage done, but Tidal Wave
Breathe.
comes out immediately. Destiny is popped. They know exactly where they are. Gale Force, Inferno, but Gala, he's going to be shut down. Hope gets the kill, but it's traded back immediately. The Cyclone's not going to be much as Kanavi's already down. RNG trying to take this Heartbreakers from Way, and the resets are too darn much. JDG getting taken down by RNG in a fight that they opted into.
That was so well played by RNG and Gala specifically as well, knowing that, look, he will die, but he will get the fight and he will set it up for RNG. And with those kills, a 5,000 gold lead for RNG, the tower will fall and opens up even more of the map now for RNG to try and play around with. Brilliant stuff from RNG.
And can I just say, the amount of happiness that has to be flowing for RNG to find advantages, not only in all of these fights, but to realize that it's not just Xiaohu, it's not just Gala. Breathe and Way are carrying their own weight in this first game of the series against one of the toughest opponents in the LPL.
And it's moments like this that signify that. Gala flashes in to get the Inferno, knowing that he's going to get everyone low enough for Breathe with that ultimate, for Way to get these resets. And once Way is starting to rip through these health bars, that makes such a massive difference. You can see there. Now JDG grouping up in mid to try and brute force their way in towards a fight. But there's not really anything that they can amass here. So it will just kind of give a bit of time here for RNG. Clear out mid wave. Start to try and situate people around the map. But JDG are trying to brute force 5-man fights because they know in theory they should be stronger there as long as Gala isn't getting another amazing Inferno.
It's kind of incredible to see so much focus around this mid lane, only deviating from the plan when the objectives are on the table. They're trying to get this outer tower here, but RNG don't want to let that happen. The bubble will not hit. Everfrost does on the 369, who has to dash out of there. But it's just been a lot of baiting breath around the mid lane here while the side lanes get pushed by Breathe.
And they never overextend as RNG. You can see there, okay, you get the lockdown underneath the tower on towards 369. They don't pull the trigger. What they're trying to do again is bait people around the map. 369 is in topside. Okay, cool. Now we can start to push in mid with people. Move, Breathe over. Start to create further pressure points. Can they RNG force a TP out of 369? Well, then that becomes even more of an issue. And again, with a minute left until this next dragon, this is again going to be RNG trying to spread out on the map and get these waves in their favor, so JDG can't just fight them in a straight-up 5v5 brawl.
I do want to highlight also Xiaohu here on the TF is going for that utility style build, has the rapid fire there, and really at this point you're seeing the changes in terms of RNG's win conditions. Not exactly a change. I think Gala will still obviously be a big win condition for them, but the big range on the setup for Xiaohu to get Way, get Breathe, get Gala into the fight, I think this is going to be integral when you're looking at the setups for fights into JDG, because as you were saying, they feel like on paper they should win the 5v5s, JDG's side at least of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much a pick play here for RNG. You have the Destiny, which has a longer range than Yagao's Realm Warp and gets there faster. So it's trying to create these moments and sides so you can find these quick picks. It looks like going to look for it here once more. Way going for the Blade of the Rune King.
369. He goes for the Glacial Prison. There's the Caliber Moonlight Vigil, but the tanking from 369 is pretty big. Way on the side. He has Heartbreaker, but that's already one down. RNG are moving forward. Heartbreakers abound, and that's 2 quick kills for RNG.
Again, we said it, Gala in these late game fights is going to be so much more of a threat than Hope. And we got to see it there. Using the Calibrum Q and the ultimate hits onto so many members of JDG and forces them back with Way threatening again. Now Breathe and Xiaohu trying to play keep away from the Baron as RNG are happy to give this Cloud Dragon across.
Oh yeah, because then you'll feel perfectly fine and confident to fight over that soul for JDG. I just feel like the pressure that's being given to RNG at this point with the already gigantic gold lead that they've established for themselves, they will continue to pressure down JDG as they get the resets off.
This is so well played. from RNG, and this is why they're such a menace when it comes to their ability to play the map or even set up for fights. Because look at Wei. Wei is off on the side here, continuously threatening, which means Kanavi, when this is missed, can't really follow up on the engage for 369. And Gala as well. Look at the damage he gets off onto Hope. Hope now completely out of the picture because Wei is able to threaten at all points in time. And it's just about separate, even though JDG are together, they managed to separate the members of JDG so Xiaohu can get that destiny to pick one off. It's really hard to try and orchestrate that, but the fact that you're able to see it so consistently from RNG is what makes them the MSI champ.
And I just love it because we're setting up, you know, the commander and the warrior here, and now the commander is just walking around with the yellow card. Kill this guy now. Okay, kill this guy now. Kill this guy now. It's just perfectly working out for RNG as a game plan here. I think JDG need to find a way back into this game, even if there is a very slight window for them to do so. But it's some of these catch-outs like they were trying to find on Ming here. They will continue to find it as well. Tidal wave, Ming goes down first. That'll be another Moonlight Vigil from Gala, though. But RNG bitten off a little bit more here. Gala commits to try to follow up Breathe. They find Hope on the side. Xiaohu is trying to survive, but he's got 369 and Kanavi right on his tail. JDG have to back away with the other two members because the 369, the front line, has got away from the carries. And Yagao and Missing just trying to buy time here as Gala and Breathe make their way out.
Gala's trying to get rid of this Gravitum. He wants the gun that's underneath it so he can look for the fight, but they may not be able to get that one up and available. Mega Gnar ultimate is not available for Breathe as well, so RNG will just walk away. Good play from JDG to find that pick. And I was about to say that RNG shouldn't be trying to overcommit into this top side. They want to stay spread out. The team fight from JDG is really good, and you can see it here where Ming gets cut out. Great predict by 369 to end up connecting with that ultimate. But as this plays out, or Breathe TP's in, doesn't really have much room left to try and help out. Gala does a good job of trying to reposition himself behind Breathe in the front line. But again, in team fights, Ryze in the AoE situations will do more.
Yeah.
You've got Kanavi with that Cyclone as well. They're just in a better spot to take these fights.
And I want to take a look at, item completions already coming out here. We have a massive advantage for Breathe on this Gnar. He's sitting at 3 items now, feeling confident as ever to move forward. You've still got the setup for Xiaohu with the Destinies, and they do not want to let Yagao get away. That's the depth charge out. Xiaohu on the side with the yellow card. Mega Gnar ulti is not pulled just yet because he can't get the engage there. Calling onto the front line. Xiaohu's on the back here. Big Cyclone from Kanavi, but it ain't gonna do much when their health bars are too darn big. Hope gets down. He gets 1 kill, but that's RNG moving forward and cleaning house against JDG. 369 might be a little tanky, but Breathe will tank him down. Big fight.
Again, separation from RNG, making sure that JDG cannot play into this fight. A brilliant performance once more, but I'm not gonna lie, there's nothing further to take. That was just a fight over vision control and river, and RNG now will be able to move up towards the objectives of the towers, but not actually having a dragon or a baron to try and take home is a little bit unfortunate for RNG.
It just feels like RNG are the ones that are telling JDG what's about to happen, and JDG just have to continuously react to it. Right? We're watching Xiaohu navigate these fights with the Destinies, go into the backline, find the big yellow cards, and the rest of the team following it up. It's just like precision.
And again, it's like, hey, we got Kanavi out of the equation. He is no W, so getting in for the Cyclone's a lot more difficult. They catch Yagao again, and you called out like Breathe not going for the ultimate. He's holding it for Kanavi with this Cyclone. He's waiting for these Cyclones to come through so we can keep Gala safe on the back line. And it's this understanding from RNG about what they need to do once they find the pick. Stop that big team fight from coming across. But again, I think the biggest problem for JDG is that, like, even though their composition is technically set up for a better team fight, they just don't really have the damage right now to follow up with the 0-4 mid lane.
Xiaohu's trying to find a big Glacial Prison back from JDG into the tight hold, though. The tidal wave goes big. Ming goes down now as well. Hope is putting in some damage on the back. Moonlight Vigil goes wide, and this is a fight that JDG actually win. They're on soul point as well, and Dragon is spawning now.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be the pick for JDG, and apparently I'm just cursing RNG because I say, hey, look, RNG been able to find these nice fights. They've been able to utilize it effectively, but they immediately end up grouping up for Kanavi, and that gives the damage that they need. Now 6 kills towards Hope Hope didn't get off to the best of starts, but this Lucian is starting to bring it back.
It really is, which is incredible to say when we were talking so heavily about Gala with the late game carry potential, but you're seeing the navigation of the fight. If it goes just right, Hope is able to get so much damage in, and this all started from RNG trying to look for a pick.
Yeah, and not realizing how many members of JDG were here. And again, look at the lineup here. Great wave spot for missing. Kanavi gets across several people. And Gala doesn't really get to be a part of this fight. Like, he's trying to use the Calibrum to the best of his ability over the side. But those aren't the guns you want for that kind of close quarter fight in choked up scenarios. And now Kanavi instantly sneaking in with the Cyclone.
Glacial Prison does not connect. There's the Destiny for Xiaohu to join the fight. Wei is on the back here too, and JDG, they're in some trouble here. They got to be real careful. 369 taking up the front though, and Yagao is finally here. They've gone back to the 5-man squad, and RNG don't want to go forward, but JDG, they want to go forward. They're trying to find out Breathe. He gets out with a nice little hop, skip, and a jump, and JDG, whew, it is so tight-knit, but you can see when JDG get a little bit of something, they continuously press the advantage. They try to upend RNG every time.
And this is what we saw from JDG against V5. They were able to slow down the pace of the game, find one or two good picks, find some of these good fights. And here, going on towards Gala is the best play for JDG. Gala is the damage source. This 3-item Aphelios needs to be able to carry the fights. But when Kanavi is able to slip in behind RNG, pick him off, you can see there's just no follow-up. You've got a 7-kill Gnar, fantastic, but all you've got is the Black Cleaver and the Triforce. The rest of that is tank damage. Like, and with Wei being as squishy as he is with the Blade of the Rune King build, he needs to find the correct moments to go into fights to make sure he can get these resets. But you're not being given that opportunity by JDG.
You're really not, and that's that continued aggression we love to see. Also, something for both these teams to kind of keep an eye out on the rest of the game. Don't get funneled into chokes. I mean, I'm just saying, both of these teams have such powerful positioning abilities when you're in a tight area. It could go either way, and that's what we've kind of seen, how this game is still so back and forth just after 30 minutes in.
And JDG now have forced RNG into those chokes because no Mega Gnar available for Breathe.
And here you go again. Wei in some trouble there. Does get out of there afterwards, though, not having to utilize the flash or the Heartbreaker. That Glacial Prison from 369, we've seen be so crucial, will not be available anymore.
And the thing is, although you have this Cloud Soul on towards JDG, it's not doing a huge amount for them in these fights. These fights are kind of just dictated by positioning, by being able to very quickly pick off one or two members on both sides. So for JDG, it is going to be looking at this Elder Dragon in 3 minutes time when we start that Baron buff and Elder dance. And for JDG, giving a bit of room now towards RNG.
Wow.
Ward at the back of the pit will spot RNG starting this up. This is so dangerous now.
It's so dangerous. This could be an easy comeback into the game for JDG, but it's RNG that just wanted to pull the trigger, pull the bait, and JDG not falling for it just yet. Breathe, not going to be Mega Gnar, but 369 goes down. That's your front line. The Realm Warp coming out as a bait from Yagao. Now Xiaohu on the side. He has the rapid fire cannon. He finds it on to Kanavi, but they already get Wei turned back. Ooh, he doesn't die. Ming goes in for the engage. Tidal Wave back as the peel. And JDG, they're turning it around. Xiaohu on the side. He finally gets one down, but the bubble lands from missing. And RNG are dead to rights.
The president was down. Gala died. And with that JDG now, they can turn over towards this Baron. The fight, the turn was immaculate. And this is the reason JDG have taken down every other top team.
It is like clockwork. Every time they just find a way to take the fight. Here, Wei needs to find the hero play to continue RNG's success in this game. He's on the back of the pit. It's down about 3,000 health here. He's over the wall. Can Kanavi
50-50.
separate them? If a bubble lands, that's huge. But Wei, he has the tools to get over the wall. He has the flash. He's just buying time here. Here comes 369 over the side, though. It's going to be really, really low, and Wei just gets obliterated by Yagao.
I blinked and he was gone. Wei just disappeared after all that tension. But we're going to catch the replay here of this fight. So, nice job by the blue ward to spot out Xiaohu here for JDG. But 369 does go that little bit too far because Breathe, having now turned into Mega Gnar, means that JDG can't follow up. Xiaohu, Destiny's in, but can't get onto the key carries with the rapid fire. And here, Wei, we talked about how squishy this carry is for RNG. He's now out of the fight, and instantly Gala gets pounced on. Where everyone is forcing themselves in to kill the AD carry, because as long as he's down, You still have Ryze who can carry these fights. Kanavi's going to be able to carry the fight because Wei's already out of the picture. And JDG reading that fight spectacularly. Now with Baron, now with a potential flank for Kanavi, RNG need to be so careful.
JDG are 1,000 gold now down from RNG, where they were so much further just a little bit a while ago.
Oh, Kanavi.
369 though, he's on the side here. He will get spotted out by Wei. Kanavi taking a lot of damage from that one. Though breathe. Big Mega Gnar ulti. Moonlight Vigil. Infernum is going to do work. Missing goes down, but it looks like JDG are still able to take this. Kanavi is back in the fight. Xiaohu is down, and JDG have turned it from rags to riches, and they take the lead. Oh, we got Wei going back in, though, Kanavi. Wei, you don't want this. He's got the rest of his team there, and Wei goes down.
I mean, it's a disaster for RNG. JDG keep 4 members strong. Missing will give his life as JDG. They don't care about the Elder. They've got Baron buff. They're gonna end the game.
They literally just turn it around in the blink of an eye. It is a huge game 1 victory for JDG as RNG are still wondering what the hell just happened.
JDG have said they go to 3 to give them more practice. And my word is this practice playing off for them. Being able to bring back against RNG, one of the cleanest mid-game teams that we have in the LPL. And JDG were like, we don't care. We're stronger. Bringing these picks, bringing these fights. JDG, that was incredible.
What a delivery on the first game of this series. That, like, the energy is just popping out of my veins right now. I love to see the coolness of this JDG squad every time. Doesn't matter who they're up against or what they're up against. RNG had a 6K lead for like 90% of that game. And then a couple bad decisions. Xiaohu being on the TF and not something with a little bit more damage. All he had was to say, yellow card, go kill them, but they couldn't kill them. And JDG turn around huge fights with a bottom lane that we saw get put down in the dirt early on, and somehow they just navigate the fight so well and pull the rug out from underneath RNG.
And a huge amount of that was from Kanavi. We talked about in the early stages how Kanavi had managed to get 2 plates on the top side, a quick kill. He got accelerated towards this Divine Sunder, and he was the one killing Gala on the backline every single time. And you can see, like, there's not enough damage on RNG to try and follow through. You think, oh, well, a Viego. But it was a Viego that took a very squishy build that wasn't really able to get into a lot of these fights as effectively as Wei would have liked. Breathe as well. As per usual with a Gnar, was going for a much more tanky build, so it wasn't being the big standout carry, just even with the most damage on the team. And Kanavi very often finding Gala meant there was no real threat then coming through on RNG's side, and JDG can take these fights. And I mean, look at that goal grab.
Yeah,
it says it all.
It's crazy, man. That is crazy. I got to screenshot that one for future use because that is actually crazy. But I do want to hone in on something that was a little bit less outward in appearance, but something we talked about heavily at the beginning, and it is the influence that we saw from the mid lane, from Yagao up against Xiaohu. They were answering each other at that level 6 mark. They were constantly trying to find advantages for their team, but as a whole, at the end, like the separation, the damage difference between Yagao and Xiaohu, that's what made a difference in the mid lane. That's what made a difference in that potential Baron steal from Wei, where he just got obliterated from Yagao over the wall. And you wouldn't get that necessarily with the damage profile of the TF. So huge pickup for JDG in this one.
It also felt like Gala, unfortunately, just trying to bite off more than he can chew in a lot of these fights. Like, Gale forcing into the fights meant that it made it easier for Kanavi to sneak in onto the backline, right? And we saw that very consistently, that Gala was just being obliterated by this Wukong. And even, honestly, shout out to Hope as well, who was Gale, once Gala had been caught by Kanavi, was Gale forcing in to get a quick combo off with the Nami to burst out the Aphelios. So you could see JDG all kind of in sync, that one hive mind, that singular focus on kill the RNG AD carry really did pay dividends. And now I'm super excited to see what the story is going to be in game number 2, because already we can see RNG got a lead, and RNG phenomenal with a lead, but not good enough to take down JDG.
Not good enough in game 1. We'll see if they're good enough in game 2. We got to take a little break, get some relaxation in before we get right back to this competitive series. JDG versus RNG right after this.